Welcome back to anybody that has been with us for the previous two, and welcome to any new faces we see on the call. What we go through is the introductions of ourselves. Just bear with me, what's going on here? There we go. So introductions of ourselves, of GridServe, who we are, what we do. We'll touch a little bit on salary sacrifice, what's included for any new people that didn't get the opportunity to join us for the last couple of calls. What is provided and why we provide used electric vehicles through salary sacrifice. What's the key differences? What are the pros and what's included with used EVs? What's the ordering process? So how do you get on board with used EVs? How you get on board with GridServe and how to kickstart that process? Ben's going to then go through some used electric vehicle pricing examples, which will hopefully give you a bit of a flavour as to the key cost differences and any differences that might be compared to a new salary sacrifice product. And then we've got a question section at the end. We have got our own frequently asked questions that we can go through, but of course, if you guys have any questions going forward, please do let us know either in the chat box or on the questions side. We'd be more than happy to go through that with you. So who is GridServe? So we have been around as GridServe Sustainable Energy for, I believe, it's about 8 or 9 years now. So ultimately, we started off as a solar farming business, moved into the EV charging world where we bought the older Ecotricity network, and you'll probably see that a lot especially if you're high mileage drivers and you already drive EVs potentially. You'll see our chargers across most of the motorway service stations. And then we've got ourselves as GridServe Car Leasing, which creates that sun to wheel methodology of being able to solar farm, being able to push it into our forecourts. So we've got 3 forecourts currently. We're working on a 4th one. So we've got Braintree, which is our kind of flagship forecourt, Gatwick. We've got Norwich, soon to open at some stage this year, Stevenage, which are very much like your petrol stations, but for electric vehicles. And then we've got, as I say, the motorway network and our car leasing division, which Ben and I form part of. So I'll introduce myself. So my name's Seb. I'm one of the business development managers for the south of the UK, which is everything regarding fleet, regarding salary sacrifice. Been with the business for about 2 years. Previous to that, worked for Shell, which was for electric vehicle charging. And then previous to that, worked again in the fleet industry with Navuna, who were formerly Hitachi Capital, as a BDM, pretty much doing the same job as I'm doing now. And I'll introduce Ben over.
Perfect. Thanks, Seb. Yeah, so my name's Ben. I'm one of the other development managers for GridServe, very similar to Seb in terms of myself, him, and another colleague handle nationally for GridServe Car Lease and NEP businesses looking at their fleet and their transitions to EV, but another aspect being salary sacrifice, which is what we're talking about today. So we help discuss with businesses how to onboard such a program for their staff, how it can benefit them, and the scheme and what it entails. Been with GridServe for nearly a year now, but in the industry around 8 years, more specifically in the salary sacrifice field for about 4 years with a previous brokerage. So seen it evolve and change over time because it's something that has been around for over a decade now, but it's just obviously much more prominent in the current climate at the minute, with the likes of obviously EVs becoming more popular because of the tax benefits. So I'll hand back over to Seb and we'll go through the next few slides together.
Thanks, Ben. So let's go back to what is salary sacrifice. So I won't read it all out to you, but basically what salary sacrifice is it's a HMRC approved tax efficient way to essentially have a vehicle and pay for that vehicle and all the servicing, maintenance and insurance through your gross salary, which ultimately means because you're reducing your salary in the eyes of the tax man, you're then paying less national insurance and income tax savings. And that's where your savings happen for salary sacrifice, very much similar to your cycle to work initiatives, gym vouchers, all that sort of good stuff. And ultimately, there's three key benefits. So from a business perspective, if you're a business owner, CFO, FD, and whatnot. It reduces your own national insurance contributions. It's great for the team in terms of you are able to attract and retain your top talented staff. In a climate where everybody's moving for the sake of £3,000 or £4,000 a year extra, you may not have that in your back pocket, but if you've got a salary sacrifice scheme in there in place, it could bridge the difference to be able to get you that talented employee that you're after, or retain whoever you've got in your current employee base. And of course, great for the planet. Let's not let's not go into that too much. It's fairly obvious. It's the way the planet's moving currently. Our hope is to do what we can to move the needle on climate change. That's very much what our motto is. So that's what we're about. So three key things as an employer and an employee benefit. It's very good for implemented into business of any size or scale. What's included? So I touched upon it a little bit earlier. So you get your monthly rental for the vehicle, which is pretty much the finance element of the vehicle with salary sacrifice. You get your fully comprehensive insurance, which covers not only yourself but up to 2 additional drivers. So of course, if you've got a spouse, kids, as long as they reside at the same address as you, you're able to put them on the insurance for fully comp business cover. Maintenance, so it covers all your service, maintenance, repairs you would expect, wear and tear damage, anything under those circumstances. Breakdown cover, windscreen cover, your charging included in there, and your lifestyle protection. So ultimately, lifestyle protection is, from our point of view, we touched upon it last webinar, but I'll go through it again. So in terms of the lifestyle protection that we use, if you were to give the vehicle back halfway through the lease term, most lease companies would tell you it's 50% of the outstanding rentals left to pay. With our salary sacrifice scheme, it's up to 3, which is either 3 months worth of rental or half of remaining rentals, whatever is the cheapest sum. So that's something that's included within the scheme as well. So you're not going to be burnt if you do move jobs, you have a change in circumstances, little one on the way, and you need a bigger car, for example, then that's covered for you as well. And the key thing, let's move on to electric vehicles. So why use EV? And we're seeing this a lot, and we've had various questions about it. I know Ben has, myself as well, with brand new prospective clients. Many months ago, or do you use EV salary sacrifice? That's where we see the growth. Definitely from our point of view, that's where we're seeing a lot of growth. A lot of our new orders are ironically used vehicle orders. So in terms of your affordability side of things, it's way more cost effective. Ultimately, if you're getting a 2 or 3 year old vehicle, you've not taken the hit on the depreciation over the first year, which is mainly what your big finance payment is due on. You may not want to commit to that vehicle long term, especially in this day and age where electric vehicles are coming out of everywhere. You've got BYD, for example, you've got Aura or GWM that are looking at pushing more vehicles onto fleet. Range on batteries getting a lot more efficient, and a lot more in terms of increased range. So you may want to sort of dip your toe into the market for 12 months, 24 months, rather than a 3 or 4 year agreement. So that's what we're finding is a lot of what a lot of people are after. They may not want to commit long term just because they're not entirely sure whether it works for them. Of course, we like to think that it does work for them, and they end up getting a new vehicle after that. And the availability. So a lot of vehicles have their own lead times for factory orders. They're not always just built to the employees' needs. So some of these have to be factory orders. Some of them could be anything from 8 weeks to 24 weeks in some cases. So the availability of a used vehicle, and the fact that we've got these used vehicles in compounds ready to go, is a really big benefit for employees. And I shall move over to, I should give the reins to Ben to carry on the presentation and the pricing stuff.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Seb. So yeah, main question we get asked with used is, what's the difference? What's included? Generally, with a lot of people that inquire on this aspect, they're expecting something to be missing. But great part is in our salary sacrifice package, nothing is different. So the vehicle still comes fully maintained. So any regular servicing required, MOTs obviously would be applicable for most of these used vehicles as well. Replacement tires. So the whole package is completely the same as a new vehicle. So there's no change in the cover or the product that you're getting. The only requirement with these used vehicles is that they cannot be any older than 5 years at the point of return. So the financial lender we partner with and work with, they lease through brokerages and through themselves thousands of vehicles a year that come back off fleet. Now, some of them do come back early. We've had a lot of instances with cars recently that are 6 to 8 months old that have been returned early, or we do have a handful that come back at the end of their 3-year agreement, or 4-year agreements. So if that's the case, there are limitations into how long the contract could be offered on those vehicles if they're 3 or 4 years old, meaning that they can only have a maximum of a 2-year agreement. But the great thing is, for a lot of the used vehicles, like Seb mentioned, the ability to maybe take something for a year is an option. You can't get that in the new market through salary sacrifice or any sort of financial world with vehicles out there unless you do a subscription model, which unfortunately is very expensive for that because it's brand new. But a lot of people that maybe want to, dip their toe into the electric market, still a bit cautious, and a lot of people are. But you can try it for a year and take a vehicle for a year. And like Seb mentioned, 95% of the time people turn around after a year and go, that actually wasn't a problem at all. I'll get something brand new now and commit to 4 or 5 years. In terms of used then, so we do get asked this. Unfortunately, you can't provide your own used vehicle. So if Joe Bloggs' garage down the road for you has got a used EV available, we couldn't fund that. So it has to be supplied via, our ex-fleet partner that we use for the for the financial side of the vehicles that they offer. There is plenty of availability in terms of the vehicles they offer. They do thousands of vehicles a year, and they provide batches for us at a time. But we can always request. We can look at more vehicles if there's a specific type you have. There could be something that they do have. We recently had a scenario like that where a customer wanted a particular product, which we didn't have available at the time. Reached out to our partner, who said, lo and behold, we've actually got a couple of these that have just come back, and the price was we'll see some examples, but nearly half compared to the new. So yeah, that's generally what's obviously in the package for you. If I can get the next slide, please, sir. So key thing we always get asked is, how do we get access to this? How do we look at these prices for the new, for the used stuff and new? So like everybody out there, for you as a business or your employees to get access to our scheme and our pricing, then you just need to be signed up with GridServe's salary sacrifice scheme. So it's just simply reaching out to myself, Seb, or GridServe as a whole to inquire about more details, but basically get an active credit line in place between the business and the leasing partner. Once that's done, we will then provide all employees with a login access to their own bespoke portal where they can, access not only the new vehicles, but also the used stuff, which is due to go live on there soon. We'll also be launching the used vehicles at some point on our website as well. So you can actually see live images of the car with registration. You can see the condition, because a lot of people tend to worry with used, what condition is it in? These are obviously returned and held up to a high standard, which is set by the BVRLA. So, that as it's used, there's probably going to be the odd sort of stone chip potentially. But when you look at the vehicles, it'll be no different to your experience probably going into a used showroom and finding used vehicles there that look brand new. So you can see the vehicles in question, you can see the mileage they're on as well, and get a real feel for what you're getting. It's not going to be a blind ordering process in that sense. Next slide, please. So we're going to go into a couple of examples to show you in terms of why used is so prominent, because salary sacrifice is great to get a new electric vehicle, but it's even better for used, because like Seb mentioned, with anything new car-wise, 20% of its value is tax. So there's a lot of depreciation in the first year to 2 years of the car's life, which unfortunately when you buy, lease, PCP, or however you want to do finance on a car, you're going to be paying for most of that depreciation. When it comes to used, a lot of that has obviously happened, so there isn't real depreciation to follow. And that's why then more people are seeing the benefit, because not only are you getting discount on the vehicle, you're getting it as well as the discount for your tax savings. So this example here is on a used Cupra Born. That vehicle image there is the actual image of the vehicle in question. We actually supplied that to somebody, and those are the sort of images you get, arranged with obviously interior pictures as well. But on a 20% taxpayer for 3 years at 5,000 miles, This person to have everything included that we mentioned, being insurance, maintenance, breakdown, tire, windscreen, the lifestyle protection if they need to, terminate early. You also get 3 months free charging with us and access to our network. The net cost is £291 and a penny, which is exceptionally cheap for a vehicle. In that case, that's only a year old. Now, if we looked at that vehicle brand new for the exact same term, it would be £435 to that individual. Still a great offer for a brand new car to have your car maintenance insurance, but it just shows you, if we click the next part, Seb, for the saving, when you go into the used market, you're saving £144 a month for a vehicle in this particular scenario that is only, at the time we priced this, it was 8 months old from registration. And obviously we do get some scenarios where vehicles are a year or two older, but we do have a lot of vehicles that are pretty much nearly new. So to get that quality of vehicle, it's a Cooper Born won car of the year, I believe, in 2023. It's a really popular vehicle, great range, great bit of kit, and to have everything fully covered. And the great part about salary sacrificed, that cost is fixed. With everything going on in the world at the minute, there's rumours that certain water prices are going to increase, broadband, everything's going through the roof. And obviously with a new change in government, no one really knows what's going to happen. To have something fixed for the next 3 years where you know where you stand on your car is a bit of a lifesaver, really, to be able to go, I know exactly where I stand. The only cost you're going to have on that is to charge the car. We can obviously help provide with home chargers optionally with a preferred party provider. We also give you 3 months access to our network, which is unlimited, so just to get you on the road and moving. And we also work with companies as well to help provide efficient and cheaper overnight charge rates and can advise you accordingly on who the best to look at. So that's an example of looking at it from a used perspective to a new car for a 20% taxpayer. The other part we wanted to look at as well is, when you get into the used market, you are going to look at potentially dealerships, and the PCP market is still one that is very popular. So we thought we'd pick a more premium vehicle to show you. So we've got here BMW iX Sport, but it is loaded with about £4,000 of extras. It's got a Sky Pack, comfort packs. And this vehicle in question was only 2 years old, 22 plate at the registration. So for a 40% taxpayer on this 3-year term at 8,000 miles, for the used car, it would be £533 a month. And bear in mind, that is an £80,000 list price car, brand new. So to get an £80,000 car with no deposit, no credit check, you can have it for 3 years. It's £533 a month net cost to cover everything. What we then did was found the like-for-like car on Auto Trader. So we just went on Auto Trader and looked for the vehicle. You can look at this yourself because they provide rates. So for the similar age car with the similar specification on Auto Trader with zero deposit from this provider and their PCP finance, it was coming up at £811 a month. And obviously with PCP, you don't get any of those extras included. So no insurance for that, no maintenance. Also key to point out, no road tax, because obviously that's going to be a thing for electric cars in the upcoming years. No 3 months free charging. So when you look at the saving on this example per month, using it as salary sacrifice, just click the next section, Seb, it's £278 a month cheaper. So it's £10,000 cheaper over the term. And you got motor insurance included, breakdown included, maintenance, windscreen cover, charging, all those extras. And it's £10,000 cheaper. So this just really emphasizes why we're getting into that used market, because it's making more and more options more affordable for people. We appreciate with the way the world and the market has been, surplus income isn't really as good as it used to be for everybody pre-COVID. So used EVs are going to be really popular in the sense that, you can get a vehicle sub £300 inclusive. And it's not as if, it's a vehicle that probably does 10 miles in battery range. That Cooper Born does over 200-mile range. It's a very popular car. But there's plenty of options. So it's looking at both avenues of looking at it against the new market potentially, but also in the used market out there. So you can really see the benefit. Next slide, please, Sam. And that's pretty much everything about used EVs. Like I mentioned, what's included is exactly the same. The only caveat is we need to supply the vehicle, obviously, in the age of the car. Seb mentioned earlier, if you do have any questions, please chuck them in the Q&A section. We'll go through them, but we're just going to go through a couple of our common FAQs we get in the industry. So Seb, if you want to obviously question, because we get this a lot with users, warranty, what happens with warranty if you get a used vehicle?
Yeah, so it's a bit of an open question and an open answer, to say the least. So with warranty, again, OEMs and manufacturers all have their different kind of stance when it comes to warranty. Some will be based on 5 years, X amount of miles, 100,000 miles. Some will be based on maybe 2 years. Some will be based on maybe 7 years, but actually If it changes ownership during that 7 years, that warranty is null and void. So the key thing to remember with use salary sacrifice through ourselves is our funder will, we've had many discussions with our funder on this to make sure that any employees that take it have that warranty style of service, regardless if they've got a warranty or not on that vehicle. So regardless of whether the warranty is covered by the OEM in this instance or whether it's not, Lex our funder have put in a scheme in place whereby they will be able to give the service and maintenance, any repairs that you would see and deem worthy under guarantee or under warranty, they will cover that for you. So anything, I don't know, that discs issues on brake discs or whatnot that you would have covered under a warranty will be covered under our funders agreement, and they've put that budget in place into the cost, which Ben has gone through with you to be able to account for that, so you won't have any nasty surprises regardless if it's warranty or non-warranty. So that hopefully answers the question. Is you'll be looked after by the funder regardless.
Yeah, we have a duty of care as a business to supply vehicles to make sure that's to a standard, and so does the funder. But there's a lot of manufacturers out there these days that are doing 5, 6, 7, 8, some even doing indefinite years warranty on a lot of vehicles, and most do at least minimum of 5 to 10 years on the battery as well. So rest assured there will be, like you said, plenty of assistance on there. Can I put a Cherish plate on the vehicle? We do get this quite often. Yes, you can. So whether you take a used vehicle or a new vehicle, you can put a private plate on there. There's usually an administration charge because obviously the finance lender is the company that will hold the V5 retention certificate and be the legal registered owner of the vehicle. So generally it will just require a phone call or an email. They'll obviously, as long as you've got the retention for your private reg, send off to the DVLA for authorization. Depending on the funder, I think it can range anything from 20 to I think £30 as an admin fee. Just retain the original plates and then swap them back at the end when the car's due to return. And another one we get asked is obviously modifying the vehicle. So some people might want, like you said, add a tow bar for any reason, sign writing sometimes. Some people like to put on their vehicle if it's for business use as well. Just to highlight, our motor insurance does cover business use as standard. It's in there. You don't need to add that. And in terms of modifying the car, yes, you can. The way we like to say it is treat it as your own, but effectively that you're borrowing the car, because that's effectively what it is. So anything you do to modify the original specification of the vehicle, whether it's a paint wrap, whether it's a tow bar, we always say, look, just notify the funder and just seek it authorization to make sure they're okay and aware. Like I said, 99% of the time they're fine with it. It's never a problem. But then they generally may have to be removed at the point of returning. Or in some cases, the funder does say, look, you can keep it on there. But, if you're going to add a tow bar to a car later down the line, tow bars aren't cheap. You're probably going to want to keep that maybe for your next vehicle. So that's pretty much, I believe, everything to it, guys. Like I said, if you've got any other questions at all, chuck them in the chat. I can see there's one here from Charles. Presentation, yes, will be available on demand. So there will be a section on our website where we've got the previous 2 webinars that we've hosted, and this one over the course by the end of the week. I believe our marketing team and IT team will get this loaded up there for you, so you can watch it on demand at any point. But if there's any other questions at all before we do finish, if you want to chuck them in the chat at all, by all means, any question is a good question. Even if you feel like it may not be relevant, please chuck it in there. But if I go to the next slide, please, Seb. If obviously you would rather reach out directly to ask us, feel free. There's our contact details on screen for myself and Seb for our email. We do have a general inquiry line for salary sacrifice as well if you'd like to give us a call, which is the number, and obviously the mailbox is there as well. Again, we are also both on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out via that channel if you've got any queries or questions, or if you want to maybe discuss this in a bit more detail for not only your business that you manage or maybe the business that you work for. I would like to look at onboarding such a scheme. Generally, we find a lot of companies that have this sort of scheme with other providers aren't really seeing the use and the benefit, and that's largely down to the package they offer and the costings. And with the examples we've given you there's some real, highlighting costs to say, look, this is a really popular scheme once you get it on board and gives people plenty of options. So that is going to be the end of the webinar episode for today. If you've got any information you'd like, please do reach out. But thank you all for your time and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks, so have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.